That's what moved me, not the story of the Jerusalem movie. Because we are all that boy. Every woman here is that boy, and every guy here is that boy. We all wander from place to place, looking for a place called home. That's why we go in and out of so many relationships. We're looking for a place where we feel comfortable. That's why we so instantly bonded. I saw it on the second day. I saw it 2 years ago on this trip, and I'm sure Moki and Batzion and Yaniv see it on every Birthright trip. It's an amazing thing. After 2 days, everybody bonds. 2 days. Everyone knows each other's name, and everyone bonds. Why? Because we all naturally gravitate to any place that we can call our home, even if it's for 10 days. We just want to belong. We're all looking to belong. Many of us have broken relationships with our parents. We don't feel we were given the love that we needed, so we can't call that fully our home. Or even if that was something that was comforting and loving, well, then you move out of the house and you have to find a place that you call home. The purpose of this trip was to tell you, stop wandering. Jewish people are your home. Israel is your home. Whether you live here, whether you visit here, or whether you just love it from afar, that's the same. I have kids who live all over the world. I've seen my son Mendy 3 or 4 times this year. He lives far away. I have 2 daughters who live here in Israel. I saw them 3 times a year. But I was with them the entire time. There will never be a place that they will go that I will not be with them. Home is not a geographic place. Home is where you feel most comfortable. Home is where you feel the most pride. Home is where you feel the most at ease. The purpose of this trip was to tell you that this us being Americans, and I love being American. I truly love the great country we live in, and I love Israel. But before anything, I am a Jew. I'm a child of Abraham. I'm a child of Isaac. I'm a child of Jacob. I'm a child of Sarah, and Rebecca, and Rachel, and Leah. I'm a child of the 10 Commandments, and a nation that taught the world that faithfulness to a woman gives you a home. But just being a womanizer, going from place to place, you're not an adventurer. You're a wanderer who has no place to call home. I'm a child of the 10 Commandments that teaches me that my home is where I reconcile with my parents and I honor them, notwithstanding whatever issues I may have with them. And I'm a child of divorce who had many issues with both his parents. But home is not found in pursuing an eternal youth, in pursuing an immature response to life where it's just about fun and pleasure seeking. Home is where we find a mature form of identity. I'm a child of King David, who sings songs to God every day when I read the book of Psalms. Abraham Lincoln, our greatest president, went through the 4 horrible years of the Civil War. He said the only thing that got him through it, he famously said, every night, the events of the war brought me to my knees, and the only thing that stood me up was reading the Bible nightly. Every day of that war, he never stopped reading the Bible. To read about great figures who inspired him. And the amazing thing was, he wasn't even Jewish. He was reading about our fathers and our mothers. The purpose of this trip was to give you a sense of pride, that you should stand tall, that you should never feel built over. You should never feel partially that being Jewish is a burden, that it weighs you down. The purpose of this trip is to give you wings, so that you can soar with all the members of the people who have lived proud Jewish lives and who have contributed mightily to the world around us. That was the purpose of this trip. And if you take that away with you, that one thing, that I know more strongly who I am, and this trip was successful. You know that the Jewish community is your home. That Moki Schwartz, who comes across as a very knowledgeable, erudite, and humble man, spent 3 years of his life ensuring that people didn't go with explosives, literally, and blow themselves up and make people mourn. And he didn't shove that down any of your throats, that here, what sacrifices did you make for the Jewish people? Because when you meet him, you found a brother. And brothers, when they meet, show each other only love. There's no condescension. And I say this compliment sincerely. Batzion is a young woman, but she has great maturity. a boat that went from place to place, and no one would take these Jews in. They had no home. And they went to Cuba, and they went to Florida. President Roosevelt wouldn't let them in. Joseph Kennedy, who would later father a president who was rabidly anti-Semitic, was advising the Roosevelt administration not to take the Jews in. He was the American ambassador to London. He was the main contact with our allies, and he was saying, don't take the Jews in. There was a conversation between Ribbentrop, who would later become Hitler's foreign minister, but at the time he was the German ambassador to London. He became friendly with Kennedy, and he says to Kennedy one day over dinner in London, we're thinking of enacting racial laws against the Jews. Would the United States object? And Joseph P. Kennedy, the richest man in America, said to him, not at all. We don't let them into our country clubs. They don't have a home among us. It doesn't have to come from horror stories of watching ships that went from place to place that no one took in. It doesn't have to come from fear. This isn't about that someone's going to hurt you or kill you, God forbid. This is about a place where you feel most comfortable. What you learned on this trip is that when you meet a fellow Jew, notwithstanding the fact that they are complete and utter strangers, you are still family. That's why you bonded so instantly with soldiers who have very little in common with you. That's why you bonded so instantly, because brothers and sisters don't love each other because they have shared interests. Brothers and sisters don't get along because they have shared hobbies. They get along because they're bone of one bone and flesh of one flesh. You are part of the people. Never forget it. Contribute to your people. Be a part of it. I am the father of 9 children, and as my son will tell you, I have repeatedly said to all of my kids, there are many things I want from you. I want you to be gentlemen. I want you to be ladies. I want you to confer dignity on every person you meet. I want you to make them all feel special. But more than anything else, I want you to live for the Jewish people. This tiny little people that have contributed so mightily to the world and to civilization. Do you think that a Bedouin could sit with middle-class Arabs in an Arab country who did not treat him with condescension? Do you think that even happens in these class-ridden societies that surround us, where an elite suppresses the rights of all the people that surround them? Do you think Arabs in other countries, 1.5 million Arabs in this country, vote in this country, have absolutely equal rights to every Jew? Do you think that's possible in Syria, Egypt? We don't even know. Libya, any of these countries that surround us? We stand for something, we Jews. That's why you have to be involved with your people. You can't be a bystander here. You have to be a participant. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor and a privilege, although we have another day together, to spend the past 9 days with you. Honestly. Some of my friends are saying to me, why do you go on these trips? You know, it's a big commitment, 10 days. I didn't have a large family, thank God. I have responsibility. And I always say, because what you get from being around these young people, I can't get it from the citizens. And I can't get it from a yeshiva. And I can't get it from my Jewish community. To see young, unattached Jews showing each other so much affection and becoming such a closely knit group and having such an open heart to learn about the Jewish state and loving every inch of it, and just watching that process is so uplifting that it inspires me to be a better man and a better Jew. I especially want to thank, in addition to Batzion and all the plans you made for us and all the arrangements, and really, you're an incredible trooper, getting up so early and going to sleep so late and never complaining, and really caring about every person on this track. And we do appreciate it. You've shown great maturity. Batzion and I clashed on a couple of things because Batzion wouldn't share her booze.
Did you say booze or booze?